30 minutes of power.
Welcome back to another lovely episode of 30 Minutes of Power, TOP, your one-stop shop for all things encouraging, entertaining, and motivating. It's your girl, people, Jory O'Neill here. What's going on? Today, we've got a powerful conversation with an area that I'm super personal and close with. I have with me today Russell Van Brocklen, aka the Dyslexia Professor, and we're going to be talking about all things helping families demystify dyslexia and what it means to actually empower a struggling reader. If that is you, or you know someone who needs this episode, go ahead, share it, tag it, send it out. Let's get on with the show. Welcome, Russell, to 30 Minutes of Power. What's up, brother? What's up?
Well, thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, listen, we're gonna jump right into it. I've been in this space, Russell. You and I talked briefly before the show. Since about 2004. I've heard many families told, just wait and see, when they think that there's they have this instinct, they have this thought that there's possibly something wrong, maybe the way that my child is reading, or the way that they're processing things, or the way that they're comprehending things. I want to just jump right into it. For a parent who's finding that maybe there could be something wrong, why do you believe that it is so damaging for them to wait? And what makes your specific method so different?
Well, number one, that is negligent. Not only negligent, grossly negligent. It's not my opinion. It's the opinion of the federal judges who tell that to the school district. So let me just tell you, everybody, what's going on. If you think your kid has dyslexia, here's the book. Don't listen to me. Listen to this. Overcoming Dyslexia by Sally Shaywitz from Yale. This is the book on the field. All right. You think your kid has dyslexia? Get the book, read it, listen to it, whatever it is, then contact Yale. Just Google Yale dyslexia. What you want to do is, hopefully you're in kindergarten, your kid's in kindergarten. They can tell you the teacher can do this test. It's cheap. You find out if they're dyslexic or not. Then they have all of these prearranged, federally funded programs to $1 million a piece. Pick which one you want. Have the school implement it. Then by the end of third grade, they're going to probably pass their third grade reading and writing test. If they don't, if they miss it, they will at least be close. And you can't sue the school district if they do that, because the federal judge will say the school's done their job. But if they fail that, if they don't do that, your child fails that reading and writing test, now you're in an academic 911 emergency. And federal judges have asked schools, have you done this? Did you do this? They say no. They say you are grossly negligent. Now the kids go into an Orton Gillingham-based private school, typically 4 to 5 years, okay? And you're paying the $75,000 annual cost, and you're paying the attorney's fees. And if you don't want to pay, I'll send the marshal service to your bank, and they'll make sure you pay. It's gross negligence, but yet the damage is done. So I'll give you an example. It's exactly what happened with the New York State Senator Brad Hoylman-Segal. His daughter, he's a Harvard law grad. He's a Rhodes Scholar. His daughter, he found out she was dyslexic in fourth grade. So now she's in like a $75,000 a year private school. He paid $8,000 for the neuropsych. His family can support it. He was so angry at this, he had the whole state do a task force to figure out what to do, but the state can't afford it. So my research is to come in to give you an affordable, quick, effective way to deal with this. Why listen to me? Because I'm dyslexic. I learned to read and write in law school when I went in with a first grade reading level. My first project was actually funded by the New York State Senate. I took a bunch of highly motivated, highly intelligent high school juniors and seniors with middle school writing skills, one class period a day for the school year. They're writing like entering graduate students. All went on to college, all graduated GPAs of 2.5 to 3.6. My cost to the state, under $900 a kid. What happened? Again, here's the book, Overcoming Dyslexia. There's the brain. This is dyslexia. So do you see how the back part of my brain and your brain have next to nothing going on, but the gen ed brain's going crazy? Now, the um, that's just our issue. But the front part of our brain is 2.5 times overactive. So that deals with word analysis followed by articulation. That's what I did with the GRE, graduate records exam, analytical writing, articulation, analytical, same thing. That's why I was so successful. But it didn't work for normal kids. So what I did is I swapped it off to word analysis followed by articulation. But then also to get them to do the work, we have to start off with their speciality, what they really care about. All right. And then we teach them not from the general to the specific, but the specific to the general. I did that. I worked with Reed and his mother, Kimberly. I met them last December 27th. She just had spent $700 to have Reed tested. They're a religious homeschooling family. Reed was a year and a half behind. If he was in public school for the rest of the school year, he was supposed to increase by 2 to 2.5 points. Didn't happen. His mom had him increase by 20 points. 7x as fast. And she only worked an hour and a half a week with him. I worked with her about a half an hour a week. Here's the important part. He went from reading 11th percentile to the 65th, writing 4th to the 64th. His friends wanted him in public school for social reasons. He's now mainstreamed everything, doing just fine.
I love that. And so you mentioned you go from specialists. You mentioned before, I've checked out some of your other interviews. You say that dyslexic learners are specialists, not generalists. And I love that
Yes.
because like my own child who has dyslexia, she shines in creativity and storytelling, right? So can you explain what that means for parents and how they can tap into that?
Okay. So really with Reed, it was excellent. So what you want to do is you want to focus on the kid's speciality, their area of extreme interest and ability. Because let me give you an example. One of my clients, I'm just going to call him John. He's 13. He told me that he likes watching chemistry videos. Literally, I'm not joking about this. He's a very unique kid. How to turn paint thinner into cherry soda. Okay. So I looked up the video. I said, John, you're wrong. This is not designed for 13-year-olds. It's designed for college kids. He said, oh, but it's so easy. He's reading and writing at the first to second grade level. All right. So now I went to ChatGPT 5 Pro. I had to write about 2,000 words on that video. I said, give it at the grade level of 12th grade second month, reading 9th grade second month, so he can grow into it. So I custom created that. He's using Speechify to read it to him. He picked the voice because what he wants so unique. So yes, we are special. So what happens is in our K through college system, we try to force us to be academic journalists before we specialize. But then when we walk into grad school, we're in our area of speciality. What we're really good at, and just so you know how good I am at that, I walked into law school with a first grade reading and writing level. I took a month to learn to read, a couple of years to learn to write. The professor called on me second day of contracts. He's squashing everybody using the Socratic method. Didn't happen to me. Everything lined up and organized. He's trying to squash me. I'm answering questions. We're arguing. We're going on for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. He said he's never had this with a first year law student. He finally had to say, throw up his hands. Russell, it couldn't be any more correct. I got to move on to the next case in the interest of time. And every time he challenged me, I just argued with him to a standstill. I had no previous training. I'm in what I'm good at. So when we go to grad school, we own the place day one or soon thereafter because we've been focusing on it so much. And if you focus on that with your kid during the intervention period, you have to do that, focus on their interest, or they won't do the work. Once they do the work, they do excellent. So just to give you a quick example, you're a teacher. Here's a book on Theodore Roosevelt, 900 pages. What grade level would you give something like this?
Probably around maybe 9th, 10th.
9th, 10th grade. People who read it tell me 10th to first year college level because it's won the Pulitzer. But you see where it is. I gave that to Casey. Casey, I never saw this before. I will never see this again. This is a one-off. Casey was 10 years old, turned 11 over the summer at the end of 5th grade, reading and writing at the second grade level. Within 6 months, she took a system I had I teach writing because you can write it, you can read it. But she wanted reading first, so I adopted a little bit. I said, I do this 20 minutes a night, couple nights of the week. Not Casey. She's in her room 2 to 3 hours a night for 6 months going through this. She could read every word in that book. She knew every definition of every word in that book in 6 months. Her teacher called home, said, what's going on? I thought your daughter had a severe case of dyslexia. She's the best reader in the class by grade levels. What's going on? Her mom called me because I was working with her for 15 minutes a week. That's what her parents could afford. And I said, what do you think she's been doing in her bedroom every evening? And she came down and said, yeah, this is what I did. And she could read the whole thing. 8 grade levels in 6 months. Now, I pulled her out of the speciality. I gave her this book, Walt Disney, The Triumph of the American Imagination. This is my most popular one because kids want to know what the Disney magic is. It's 2 universal themes. She hated the book. And I got clearance from her mom. I just say, I got the super motivated kid. And after we did that for a couple of months, she's like, I hate this. And I said, how much is your motivation came down? She said half. Most motivated kid in the world is down by half. You step outside the speciality. Most kids, it's down 75, 80%. Then you go and the schools try to teach from the general to the specific. Like what effect did Martin Luther King's famous I Have a Dream speech have on the American Civil Rights Movement? You know, the Gen Ed kids know what to do. With dyslexics, it's like grabbing fog. We have no idea. So if you need to ask a specific to a general question. What personally compelled Martin Luther King to want to give his famous speech? So then we answer that, and we finally answer that. Answer gives us another question. We answer that. That forces the brain to organize itself by using writing as a measurable output. So let me give an example with you on this. This will really be important to your listeners. What's your speciality? What do you really love to do? What's your great interest and ability?
In life and reading and writing? Yeah.
No, in anything. What do you really love doing? What are you really good at? It could be anything.
I want to say storytelling.
Okay. Now, when you're thinking about storytelling, do you have ideas flying around your head at light speed? Key question, but with little to no organization.
No.
Okay. Did you ever have that?
Yes, when I was younger.
When you were so you found a way to force your brain to organize itself so you don't have those issues. When I ask that to people who are ADD, ADHD, or mildly dyslexic, they say yes. Now or in the past. So the goal is to force the brain to organize itself by using writing as a measurable output. That's how we fix things. Next question. When you want to write, because you're an author, fingers, keyboard. The idea's in your head. Have you ever taken your fingers, put them on the keyboard, and then the idea flew out of your head, leaving you with an empty brain? Sound familiar or not really?
I have a question for you. How long have you been sitting on your book idea? If you're tired of thinking about it and ready to actually make progress, join me the last Sunday of every month for my live writing masterclass. Now, this isn't just another class. It's an interactive space where you finally gain some clarity on your book and help you break through some mindsets that are blocking you and get the roadmap to actually start writing. And as a bonus, when you register, you'll get a free 20-minute coaching session with me. Spots are limited. Don't wait. Click the link in the show notes, scan the QR code, sign up. Let's get your book out of your head and onto the page. I'll see you then.
No, I don't type. I talk my book.
Okay.
I'm a bad example for this. I have ADHD.
No.
I have ADHD, and so I found ways to help me organize my thoughts, and they come out because I love storytelling much easier when I speak them versus struggling to sit at a keyboard and organize them with my fingers in the keyboard, if that makes sense.
Oh, no, that makes perfect sense. Most people say no to that. If you answer yes to that, that's an indication of severe dyslexia. So if your kid says yes to both of those, it's a way of trying to gauge where your general risk is instead of going out and spending $5,000. So what I want to do just really quickly to leave your audience with something that they can use. Do you remember when you're dealing with a lot of dyslexic kids that they're writing a bunch of randomly placed misspelled words?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show you how to fix that real fast. So what I'm doing, just so everybody knows, here's the dyslexic brain again. The front part of the brain is 2.5 times overactive. So to get your kids to do this, I'm flipping it to word analysis followed by articulation. So I need you to tell me, make up the name of a elementary school kid you know really well who's writing randomly placed misspelled words.
Bobby.
Bobby. Okay. What is Bobby interested in? What's his speciality? And don't tell me video games. That's banned.
I'm a bad person to do this with. Like I said, I taught high school, so
Nope. But okay, do you know an elementary kid who has bad writing?
no.
Okay, I'm going to give you my standard one that I tend to use in this case. Her name is Sarah.
Okay.
Sarah's favorite thing in the world is swimming.
Mm.
Okay, so what we do is we have you find out what the kid really likes, 10 things that they really like, 10 things that they really hate. So what we do is we have you type out on a laptop keyboard, not an iPad, not an iPhone, definitely not handwriting. You're going to type out hero plus sign, what are we talking about? And Sarah's going to copy it. It's fine. Professor James Collins, Strategies for Struggling Writers, default writing strategy of copying. All right. Then we're going to exchange hero for Sarah. Sarah plus sign, what are we talking about? We're going to exchange what are we talking about for the first thing that she wrote on what she likes list, which is swimming. Sarah plus sign swimming. See how we got there? Now, I'm going to try to fool you by asking you the simplest questions in the world. And if you answer them exactly, it'll work. If not, it's not. Do you think I'll be able to fool you with the simplest questions in the world?
Listen. So far, so good. Let's go.
Okay, because this is how I engineer people to have an epiphany to understand what dyslexia really is. So we got Sarah plus sign swimming. We got to replace the plus sign with a word. Here's my question. Here's how I'm going to try to fool you. Does Sarah like or dislike swimming?
She likes swimming.
You just really messed it up. Do you see what happened?
No.
Do I have you completely confused?
With what you're talking about a little bit, yeah.
Okay, so here you're about to have an epiphany on dyslexia. Remember what I asked? Does Sarah like or dislike swimming? What was your answer?
She likes it.
Right, you did it again. All right,
You said Sarah really likes swimming before you gave this example. So
right. Now I have you completely confused. Are you ready to have the epiphany?
sure.
I asked if Sarah like or dislike. As an educated person, you do what almost every educated person does. You automatically add the S and make it a proper sentence. Sarah doesn't know how to add the S.
Okay.
She would have said like, so it should have been Sarah like swimming, not Sarah likes
No.
swimming.
Ugh, I can't.
I know, as you said, you can't. This is what I get. You can't do it. This is what I get all the time from educated people, but it doesn't take from the fact that Sarah doesn't know how to add the S. So we have to figure out, how do we get her to add the S? Well, if you're using a $75,000 Orton Gillingham, multi-sensory structured approach, they're going to see it, touch it, hear it. It would take you 2 years to become certified in that approach. How about we do this in the next 2 seconds? I would say, Sarah, read what you wrote out loud. Sarah like swimming. Sarah, does that sound generally correct? No. Fix it. Sarah likes swimming. We practice that with 10 likes and 10 dislikes. That simple, because what we need to do, and as a teacher, you can answer this. If I gave you eventually a student writing a body paragraph with reasonably decent grammar and correct spelling for 3 body paragraphs, can you do a thesis statement in conclusion?
For 3 body paragraphs?
The 3 body paragraphs are done. The grammar is decent. There's some intermediate ones and some bunch of little grammar mistakes. The spelling's correct. Can you do a thesis statement and a conclusion?
Yes.
Okay. That's what teachers say is the minimum for them to do their job, gen ed teachers. So that's what we're moving towards. So how we get the grammar to be decent, does it sound correct? No, fix it. That's it. Do you see how like and dislike is a form of word analysis?
Yes.
Okay. So we're now moving to the front part of the brain. Then we do because, reason 1. Do you see how the reasons are a form of articulation? Now we're moving things to the front part of the brain with 2.5 times the neural activity. So give me a simple reason of why a 10-year-old girl would like swimming. Because why?
Because she gets to splash water on her friends.
Because Sarah likes swimming because she gets to splash water on her friends. Now, do you see how we have a mess of misspelled words?
It's possible.
Here's how we fix that. We tell Sarah to put a period down. Every time there's a major, and I mean major grammatical mistake, she has to retype it. But it's mainly the spelling. If there's a spelling mistake, she has to retype it. She's going to retype it 3 to 13 times. She's going to say, I'm not going to make that mistake, and she keeps making it. I'm not going to make that mistake, and she keeps making it. The more she makes that mistake, the more she hyper focuses. As she hyper focuses at around 9 to 13 times, you might see sweat coming down her forehead until she gets it correct. You do that until everything's correct for reason 1, then reason 1 and reason 2, then reason 1, reason 2, and reason 3, 20 times correct, every one, or start over. Once you do that, you're going from probably kindergarten, first grade reading, writing level to end of second grade, beginning third grade. Parents can do this at home. For a 5th grader, it will take 2 to 6 weeks. For a 3rd grader, the entire semester. What is different about my approach is the older the kid is, the quicker they pick it up. That's articulation followed by, it's word analysis followed by articulation. We pick what the kid's really interested in, and then we do word analysis. We start off with what the kid's really interested in, their speciality. Then we teach them from the general to from the specific to the general. Then we do word analysis followed by articulation. That's how Kimberly 7x'd how fast Reed learned.
I love that. In your previous interviews, you've mentioned, and this is something that I think a lot of parents can understand, especially trying to get their kid to read when they've been bombarded with maybe a full day of school, and then as soon as they come home, maybe they've had a snack, attempted homework, and then ran off to some sporting event or Little League or baseball, and then it's time to do the reading, and now the kid is exhausted. The kid is tired. The kid has been all day just moving and active. And so you mentioned how kids can go from frustration to forever confident. What would you suggest a parent do in that space? Because I know a lot of my friends, they're like, my kid doesn't like to read, it's time to do homework. And I can ask them questions about like, well, what time is the homework starting? And what activities have occurred before the homework? And so my thought is always like, okay, what is the qualitative analysis around why your child doesn't like reading? And so you are the dyslexia professor. So I want to pose this question to you.
So here's the simple answer. Don't teach reading. And parents are like, I said, listen, I don't teach reading. I teach writing. Okay. And if they can write it, they can read it. So what I do is, what are they doing during that time? I will have them literally, like, we get these massive books. This is my most popular. I will have them listen while they're going through with their audiobook. And then they're trying to follow along with the real book, trying to answer a specific question. What is Walt like? What does he dislike? What does he want to do? All right. And remember, I give them books grade levels ahead of where they're supposed to be. And it's in their speciality. So they actually want to do it. And what we're doing is that chaos in the brain I was talking about, that lowers it by about 70 to 80%. So they're listening to their audiobook, following along, and trying to answer a specific question. And I will have them on the same part, literally dozens, over 100 times, until they can read that section out of just going over it again and again and again. But I'm engaging the front part of the brain. All right. The next thing that I teach is I teach universal themes. I teach the kids to literally develop a vocabulary of hundreds of very evolved words where they literally know the dictionary definition. Okay. That's kind of what I showed Casey to do. She was 10, 11 when she did this. She knew those words when she was 17, 16, taking the SAT. She remembered 70, 80% of the definition. Okay. So I teach reading without teaching reading. Because if you can write it, you can read it. That's what the whole focus is on, because you're right. Trying to teach reading, it's crazy. When I did the original program, the teacher spent no time hardly on reading and the spelling and grammar. It auto-corrected. But if the kids couldn't read the prompt, they couldn't do anything. So they just picked up how to read it very rapidly because I shifted things to the front part of the brain. Parents don't generally understand. It's 2.5 times the neuroactivity. Okay? This is where your kid's a superstar. We just have to use what God gave us and not trying to do things back here, because I'll give you a little hint. We essentially got next to nothing going on back here. That's the insanity of it. Here's what I have to say about accommodations. What's the sport I'm bad at is basketball. What sport do you stink at? Just horrible. Yes. What are you horrible at?
As a former phys ed teacher, not much, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to give you something.
Okay.
Pogo sticks. Are you bad at pogo sticking?
Actually, I'm pretty good at it. Let's go with hula hooping. I can't seem to get
hula hoops. Okay. Imagine, actually, let me give you another, because you said you're not a good example for this. I want you to imagine that a parent is horrible, like just horrible at golf.
Okay.
Okay. I'm like, okay, we will accommodate you. We will give you a $10,000 set of golf clubs. We'll give you the best shoes. We'll give you the best balls. We'll give you a caddy car. We will give you the best caddies. And we're going to make sure the people you're going up against who are very gifted are using very gifted and experienced. They're using used Walmart equipment. We're accommodating you. Is it really going to matter?
That's not accommodations. That's a joke.
Exactly. So if you had, because you used to teach gym, you take a kid who, let's say we got the super athlete, and then we got the super academic kid who has no athletic ability whatsoever. And we gave that kid all the best equipment. He's still going to lose, right?
Yes.
Because his body was not meant for gym class. His body was meant for, high level school stuff. Where the jock may be an excellent athlete, but let's just say he's not going to college because there's just not a lot going on upstairs. Different people are good at different things. The school system is set up for the back part of the brain because that's where 80+% of the population is. But there's nothing going on there for the dyslexics, essentially. It's like that athletic example I gave you. You can accommodate it. It's not going to mean a darn thing. That's why we have to fix it with the front part of the brain. And just so you know what Reed's doing now, he's learning how to do multiple quotes for a body paragraph. And then I'm going to have him start using warrants. What's a warrant? It's something used at the PhD level to take the quotes, the facts of a paragraph, and connect it to the topic sentence in an analytical storytelling way. Reed will have that done probably by the end of 7th grade, and that is at least senior year high school. I'm not taking him to grade level and leaving him there. I'm going to have him blow way past it.
Russell, thank you so much for joining us, man. I mean, your work isn't just writing and literacy. It is literally life-changing. So listeners, I'll link to Russell's site in the show notes, but starting tonight with the tools he shared, you need to get on it, parents. I know I will. I'm super excited about using some of these methods and tactics with my own kids as soon as they come home from school. I want you to share with us what is on the horizon for you in this work that you're doing.
Well, we're getting my book out. It's going to be reading, literacy and reading dyslexia turnaround. I'm working on it with Evelyn Whitebay, who's on the New York State Dyslexia Task Force. But then that's just the beginning, because I use the craft of research meant for doctoral students from the University of Chicago. What I just explained to you with that advanced body paragraph, that it's context, problem, solution. I haven't told you about solution yet. Imagine having to write an essay on Romeo and Juliet, and every time having it completely original at the graduate school level. We've got the basics worked out. That's where we're going next.
Wow, I love that. Listen, remember people, you do not have to be an expert to empower your child, just a committed parent with the right tools. And Russell, my brother, you got some spanking nice tools you got there, sir. Super excited for our listeners to follow you, to connect with you, and try some of these methods out. As always, people, this is Jory O'Neill, 30 Minutes of Power. Be an empowered person, using your power to empower others. Till next time, people. Peace.
All right, before we wrap up today, I want to remind you, if a book is on your heart, then this Sunday is your chance to finally take that first step. Join me for a live writing masterclass, and we'll break down the book writing process and get you moving forward from idea to execution. So head over to joryo'neill.com/your_story_matters. Thanks for tuning in to 30 Minutes of Power. We hope today's episode inspired you to take action and make a positive change in your life. Remember, your power is meant to empower others. So share this episode with someone who needs encouragement today. We'd love to hear from you. So connect with us on Instagram at 30 Minutes of Power. Until next time, stay empowered and keep empowering others.
30 minutes of power.